a game which is played in every location using money. If you're going to Kibra people are suffering. If you pay a few hooligans, then make some noise. And if you've engineered it such that there's reporting on the same. Because I'm unfortunately, I'm one of those people who've been at this for too long. I've become jaded by the process. I think there's very little. The laws, Kenyan laws, they're fantastic.
In Kibra constituency, there was issues between the Luos and the Nubians, and a mosque and a church ended up being burned. Like I don't know which one was burned, like more than the other, or I don't know exactly what happened. But who is it that engineered? Who is it that engineered this issue that was happening in Kibra of Luos clashing with Nubians? Because the argument has been this has been an Azimio versus Kenya Kwanza demonstration, but Luos and Nubians, both of them are supporters of Raila Odinga. So what engineered? Do you have any information on that?
The best information I think I've had on that is, in as much as just Luos and Nubians are voting for Raila, the Ruto camp is also trying to get part of that action through Mariga. Now, what I have heard is that there were, of course, paid. Normally when such things happen, people are paid to do that. And I'm not convinced about an end goal here, because I think it would be an extremely difficult task to try and get support from Kibra over Raila. I personally think it's an impossibility at the moment, and it's wasted resources. I can't, because it's become very difficult these days to understand the motivations of some of the things that are happening. At the bottom of it, of course, we know it's the power that people want, but a lot of the actions seem, how can I explain this? They don't seem thought through carefully. They seem more reactionary than anything. So long as I'm doing something against my opponent, then whatever it is, because I also don't think that, I think we've already established that we've placed in very many positions of power a lot of incompetent people who are also corrupt heavily, who have never really shown anything. This position we find ourselves is that a lot of people at the top are very incompetent. And if you add corruption to that, it's just, I believe if you are going to be as optimistic as you can, and I'm just kind of shifting on to what somebody was saying earlier about the elections being the most credible or whatnot. That's ridiculous. I think it's a wish more than an actuality. Most people understand that the Kenyan the thing is, it's not the laws, it's not the setup. Everything, the way it was written down, how it was meant to go down, how you verify results, if we had used the right biometrics from the beginning, because also how we purchase this biometric equipment, who's running the admin, who's doing what. There's a lot of murky happenings around these things. When they do the requisitions for these things, how you see there's always noise about that, because I believe strongly there's always an effort to try to control that point where who is announcing the results. How can we make it favor us? There's always that. I don't know if I don't believe it's one side doing it. I think the IBC chairman, I think the last 3 or so, they've disgraced themselves repeatedly. And I see, because most people want to pretend that these people are not independent, neither are they clean of heart. They're easily paid off. So whoever gives the biggest amount, the one who could possibly, because that's where we've got it as Kenyans. whoever pays the most gets to have his say. And I believe also like that this last election, Ruto might have won that legitimately. The numbers notwithstanding, I think we should do a total overhaul of the election registry and whatnot. I think there's a lot of dead weight in there. I think there's been a lot of insertion in that entire system of a lot of fake voters and whatnot. If you think that's not possible here, then I don't think you understand Kenya very well. I think that there's a kind of a wishful thinking we have right now that we've turned some corner in election. No, we haven't. Just because your guy won doesn't mean anything. It just means they were clean at this time in pulling off the scams, but it's a definite scam. If you know Kenya, if you know the amount of money that's involved, because that's my belief. I believe Ruto just wanted to be near where he can press the button and the money comes out. If anybody who has any history about Ruto knows, this guy doesn't play that nice game. He takes everything. You know, people have forgotten just a few years ago, he took all the money for 2 dams for his area. They still voted for it. I mean, it's become a game which is played in every location using money. If you're going to Kibra people are suffering. If you pay a few hooligans, they'll make some noise, and if you've engineered it such that there's reporting on the same. Because unfortunately, I'm one of those people who've been at this for too long. I've become jaded by the process. I think there's very little. The laws, Kenyan laws they're fantastic, but we know why nothing works. Is because we want to pretend we are good people who are honest, and we are not. And I think that's the crux of it. Anyone in Kibra supporting Raila or otherwise can be bribed. You can see Jalango at the moment. People are not going to Ruto. Ruto is making offers to Raila's people, just like they've always done. They're not going to State House out of their own position. There's money being exchanged, offers being made. So, yeah, let's not be naive about these things. Fortunately for me, I come from a somewhat political family by extension. So I have seen a lot of these machinations go on for the last 20, 30 years. I can't, it will be really be dishonest of me to try and pretend we have something going on here. There is a lot of shady dealings. And I wanted to, I don't know if I'm talking too much, but people are missing something about these demonstrations and the cost of living. We are being shown that our economy is run by cartels, not by market forces. That's why you have this ridiculous multiplication of prices over short periods as compared to other places. Because US, UK, all these other places, they have their issues, but they try to let the market do its thing as much as possible. What we have in Kenya is that the people in power are also the people who run down manufacturing, they're the people importing instead of using local. So it's the complication is that we are thinking, people are not wrong for asking the government to control prices because they always do it. That's them. If you want the price of maize to come down, the things they do, either they flood in with imports or they use their local reserves that they own. So people know who's controlling the prices, and I think it's because of that that we must understand that we can't go on if that's the status quo, because the politicians can't also be the people running the economy who also own everything, and also, them and it can't work.